62 Kenyan migrant workers have died this year in the Gulf. Most of these deaths under mysterious circumstances. Now, Labour and Social Protection Cabinet nominee Florence Bore was taken to task by the Parliamentary Committee on Appointments to explain what urgent interventions she will introduce to end the mistreatment of migrant workers, especially in the Gulf, if her candidature passes through the House. Bore said she will review the country's international bilateral laws or agreements with Gulf nations such as Saudi Arabia until the safety of Kenyan workers is guaranteed. Seth Olale reports on the migrant workers' crisis and the prominence it took during the vetting of the Labour cabinet nominee.
The escalating mistreatment facing Kenyan migrant workers in the Gulf took center stage during the final day of vetting of cabinet nominees by the National Assembly Committee on Appointments. Labour Cabinet Secretary Simon Chelugui, who was undergoing the process as nominee for cooperatives and SMEs, revealing the grim numbers. The message was the same from Labour nominee Florence Bore.
We still have challenges. Kenyans have lost lives. This year alone, we've lost 62 Kenyans, and for various reasons that have been given. It's my wish that my predecessor will now have a one-on-one engagement with the government in discussion.
And I want to promise that I'll get to the bottom of this issue. And this issue has led to many deaths. When you talk about 62 deaths just this year.
Chelugui is saying resource mobilization problems made the situation in the Gulf difficult to deal with. His confession coming at a time when reported cases have shot up to worrying levels.
We've been told these people were in default, were in breach of the laws of that country. We cannot confirm. We have no jurisdiction. We can only take the reports that we've been given. The way to go would be now enhancing our number of Labour attaches.
It did little to reassure the vetting panel, with MPs demanding answers on how the situation will be dealt with and resolved.
What is the explanation? Because they owe this country an explanation. So what I want you to tell us, when you engaged with the embassies, what have they said?
And I want to promise that I will look into it. My first action will be to look at, if I'm approved by this committee, is to be able to discuss with my counterpart in Saudi Arabia to be able to see what we can do to improve the conditions of these migrant workers.
There are 210,000 registered Kenyans migrants working in the Gulf, with the correct figure likely to be higher, as many desperate ones are sneaked from the country to the Gulf by unscrupulous traveling agencies.
And I promise to be able to review the bilateral labour agreements with these countries.
The Labour CS nominee Florence Bore, if approved by Parliament, intends to engage at least 10 governmental agencies in order to solve once and for all the crisis affecting migrant workers in the Gulf. Seth Olale, Citizen TV, Parliament Buildings, Nairobi County.
Now, the family of 24